Stop everything you are doing right now. Take a deep breath and pay attention to every word I'm about to tell you in the next few minutes, because what you are about to discover may be the turning point you have been waiting for years. You have spent your entire life asking the Almighty, the universe, Saint Michael, lighting candles, making promises, repeating prayers, and yet nothing happens. The bills keep coming. Love remains distant. The health of your mother, your father, your child continues to consume you from within. And a silent voice whispers inside your chest, "Has the Almighty forgotten me? Am I not worthy?" I need you to hear this with your heart completely open. It is not that you are not worthy. You are worthy. You have always been worthy. The problem is that you have forgotten the main secret. You do not attract what you want. You attract what you feel you already are. And that is exactly what Archangel Michael, at this very moment as you opened this video, wants to teach you. Because he is already here. His sword is already raised. He is ready to cast out evil, fear, scarcity, illness, and sadness from your life. But there is a condition, and that condition has a name. It is called the law of assumption. Stay with me until the end, because I'm going to reveal the silent error that is nullifying all your manifestations, all your prayers, all your desires, an error that 95% of people commit without realizing it. And more. I will give you the exact technique taught by the greatest masters of mind reprogramming, Neville Goddard and Joseph Murphy, for you to occupy now, at this very instant, the state of consciousness of your new reality. The reality where your bill is already paid, where love is already by your side, where your family is already healed. Because all of this already exists, you just don't know how to enter it yet. But before I give you the key, do one thing, not for me, for yourself. Leave your like on this video now, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell. I am not asking you this out of vanity. I am teaching you in practice the first lesson of the law of assumption. Every like you give, every subscription you make, is a decree of acceptance. It is you saying with a physical gesture to your own subconscious, "I accept the transformation. I accept the new life. I accept the miracle." And the universe responds. It always responds. Because it does not respond to your words. It responds to the silent decrees you emit in every gesture, in every feeling. Do this now, and stay with me. I want you to visualize a scene with me, a scene that perhaps is yours. You woke up early today. Even before opening your eyes, the first thing that came to your mind was the electricity bill due tomorrow. It was the credit card statement. It was yesterday's argument with your husband, with your wife, with your teenage child. It was the longing for that person who is gone. It was the fear of the medical exam you have been putting off for months. You got out of bed already carrying a weight. You had coffee with a tight stomach. You left the house with that tightness in your chest, and yet still on the way, you said a prayer. You asked for money, you asked for peace, you asked for love, you asked for healing, and you thought you were doing your spiritual work. I need to tell you a truth that may hurt, and this pain is necessary, because it is the pain that will set you free. Your morning prayer has no strength at all when it is made from a state of fear. It has zero power of manifestation when it comes from a consciousness of lack. Because prayer is not what you say. Prayer is what you feel while you speak. If you ask for prosperity feeling bankrupt, you are not asking for prosperity. You are reaffirming in high definition to your subconscious the state of bankruptcy. If you ask for love feeling lonely, you are reinforcing loneliness. If you ask for healing feeling sick, you are deepening the illness. This is the silent error. This is the error that nullifies everything. And here is the second secret that needs to enter your mind like an arrow of light. Feeling is the secret. This phrase, which seems simple, was the basis of all of Neville Goddard's work. The feeling is what creates. The feeling is what materializes. It is the only language your subconscious understands. It does not understand Portuguese. It does not understand memorized prayers. It understands only one thing. What you feel is true about yourself. And it is from this feeling that your external reality is drawn day after day, year after year. Now pay attention, because this is where the absolute majority of manifestation videos deceive you. They tell you, think positive, visualize, repeat affirmations. And you try. You close your eyes. You visualize the new car. You visualize the house of your own. You visualize the reconciled love, and nothing. Why doesn't it work? Because you are visualizing like someone looking from the outside, like someone watching another person's movie, like someone desiring something they don't have yet. And desiring something is, in itself, the confirmation that you do not have it. Desire, when it comes from the state of lack, is the greatest reverse prayer that exists. The law of assumption, taught by Neville Goddard, goes in the opposite direction. It does not ask you to visualize. It asks you to assume, to occupy, to feel yourself already inside. Do not imagine the new house. Feel yourself waking up inside it. Smell the coffee you prepare in this kitchen. Feel the texture of the cold floor under your bare feet. Do not imagine love back. Feel the tight embrace. Feel the scent of that person on the pillow beside you. Do not imagine healing. Feel the body light, free, completely healthy. The difference between visualizing and assuming is the difference between seeing a banquet through a restaurant window and sitting at the table with hot food before you, lifting the fork. The first is a fantasy that reinforces hunger. The second is an internal reality that reorganizes the external universe. This is Neville's teaching. Assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Do not ask. Do not beg. Occupy the state. Inhabit the state. Sleep in the state. Wake up in the state. And the world, sooner than you imagine, will bow to confirm what you already are inside. But where does Saint Michael enter this story? I will tell you now, and this will move you, because spiritual tradition and the science of consciousness meet exactly here. Michael the Archangel is the guardian of the border. He is the one who separates the wheat from the chaff within you. His sword is not a metal sword, it is a sword of light. And what does it cut? It cuts old thoughts, it cuts old beliefs, it cuts the feelings of fear, envy, guilt, anger, scarcity that live masked as truth within your inner talking. When you invoke Saint Michael with true faith, you are not asking an external being to come down and solve your problem. You are recognizing within you the presence of the archetypal force that separates, that decides, that cuts what needs to be cut. You are authorizing your own consciousness to expel the old mental programs that are keeping you in a loop. And it is at this exact moment, when you combine the invocation of Michael with the occupation of the new state of consciousness, that the law of assumption operates with an absurd, supernatural, irresistible force. Think with me. What is your mind like when you wake up at 3 in the morning? Who speaks in your head at that time? What voice is this that triggers catastrophic scenarios, that repeats past mistakes, that predicts failures in the future? This voice is not you. It is the old program of your subconscious running on automatic. It is this voice that needs to be cut by the sword. It is this toxic inner talking that needs to be replaced. And you are the one who will do this. Michael only authorizes. You are the one who cuts with your conscious decision to inhabit a new mental frequency. Here enters a concept that perhaps you have never heard clearly, and that is the heart of Neville Goddard's work, the fourth dimension. The fourth dimension is not a mystical, distant, esoteric place. The fourth dimension is your inner world. It is the realm of living imagination. It is the space where everything already exists simultaneously, in all possibilities. When you occupy the fourth dimension with real feeling, you are not fantasizing. You are planting. And what you plant in the fourth dimension, with persistence and conviction, sprouts inevitably in the third dimension, in the material world. Most people live as if the fourth dimension were a place to escape to. They escape into imagination when the real world is difficult and use imagination to suffer even more, recreating the past, anticipating losses. They use the most powerful instrument in the universe, the power of creative imagination, against themselves. And then they wonder why life doesn't change. Life doesn't change because their fourth dimension is full of fear scenarios. And what is inside manifests, always, without exception. The law of assumption is as neutral and as exact as the law of gravity. I will give you a very local example from everyday life, for you to feel this in your skin. Imagine a 42-year-old woman, let's call her Claire, separated for 7 years, 2 teenage children, works from Monday to Saturday, takes a crowded bus, arrives home tired. Every night before falling asleep, Claire says the same prayer, "Lord, send a good man to me. I am so lonely." She lights a candle on Friday, goes to Mass on Sunday, does everything she was taught to do, and nothing happens. 7 years. Why? Because while Claire asks for a good man, she is feeling deeply lonely, and what she emits to the universe in pure frequency is loneliness. Her I am is fixed in the state of a lonely and tired woman, and the universe, faithful, obedient, neutral, returns more loneliness. Not because the universe is cruel, because it is faithful to the state of consciousness. It only reflects what you are inside. What does Claire need to do? She needs to stop asking. She needs to start being. Before sleeping, instead of begging, she needs to lie down and occupy the bed as if he were already there. Feel the weight of his arm on her waist. Feel his breath on her neck. Feel the warmth of his body touching hers, not as a desperate fantasy, but as an internal reality, as an assumed state of consciousness. Fall asleep within the feeling of the beloved woman. Wake up on Sunday morning feeling that he is making coffee in the kitchen. And then the universe it is forced to build the bridge of incidents that will bring this man into her life. The bridge of incidents. This is another concept that Neville Goddard gave us and that changes everything. The bridge of incidents is the sequence of apparently random events that the universe orchestrates to take you from the current state to the state of consciousness you have assumed. It is not your job to build this bridge. It is not your job to discover the how. Your only job is to occupy the final state. The bridge builds itself, and that is why often the manifestation arrives through paths you would never imagine. A casual meeting at the market, an unexpected message from an old acquaintance, a job offer that comes from where you didn't expect. Now, I want to pause for a moment to tell you something that may be the most important sentence of this entire video. Write this sentence in your heart. Your imagination is the workshop of the Almighty within you. Every time you imagine something with real feeling, with conviction, with persistence, you are literally sculpting your future reality. You are at this exact moment the invisible sculptor of your own life. And most people use this sacred power to sculpt nightmares. You are going to stop now. You are going to start sculpting paradise. But wait, there is more. And this part is where science meets spirituality in an absolutely impressive way. Did you know that your heart emits an electromagnetic field 5,000 times stronger than that of your brain? This is a finding from HeartMath Institute research, 5,000 times stronger, and this field extends for several meters around your body. You are not just a thought, you are a vibratory field, a field that touches everything and everyone around you. And what regulates this field? It is not your thoughts, it is your feeling. It is the emotional state of your heart. When you feel fear, your heart's field contracts, distorts, becomes chaotic, and this chaotic field attracts magnetically people, circumstances, and events of the same frequency. When you feel gratitude, peace, certainty, confidence, your heart's field expands, harmonizes, becomes coherent. And this coherent field attracts people and events of the same high frequency. This is not mysticism. It is physics. It is measurable. And this is exactly what Neville Goddard called assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Therefore, when you invoke Archangel Michael to cast out evil from your life, what really happens? It happens that you decide at the deepest level of your soul to change the frequency of your heart. Michael's sword is your decision. Michael's victory is your change of state of consciousness. And the evil he casts out is not an external demon. It is the old program of fear, scarcity, loneliness, illness, shame, and guilt that had been running inside you for decades. Now pay attention, because I am going to give you the practical technique. The technique that you will start applying tonight. No excuses, no delaying. The technique is called, in Neville's work, the state before sleep. It is the most sacred moment of your day. The moment when the door between the conscious and the subconscious opens. The moment when your rational mind lowers its guard and your subconscious becomes receptive to anything you plant there. This is the portal. This is the temple. And most people use this moment to scroll through their Instagram feed, compare their lives with others, and sleep feeling envy, anger, or frustration. You are going to change this, starting today. You will create a sacred nighttime ritual. You will turn off your cell phone at least 15 minutes before closing your eyes. You will turn off the light. You will lie on your back. You will take 3 deep breaths. And you will build in your imagination a short scene, a scene of at most 1 minute, a scene that represents the confirmation that your desire has already been fulfilled. For example, if you want prosperity, the scene could be you opening the bank app and seeing the comfortable balance you always wanted, feeling the relief, feeling the gratitude. If you want love, the scene could be the moment when this person looks into your eyes, holds your face and says, "I love you." If you want healing, the scene could be the result of the exam with the doctor telling you, "Everything is perfect, you are completely healed," and you feel the relief that takes over your entire body. You create this scene and repeat it in a loop within your imagination while falling asleep, as many times as necessary until you fall asleep within the feeling. This is the technique of sleeping in the state. You do not sleep thinking about the problem. You sleep within the solution. You sleep within the reality already materialized. And what happens while you sleep? Your subconscious, a faithful servant of what you have assumed as truth, begins to work. It reorganizes your beliefs, rewrites your memories, recalibrates your electromagnetic field. It begins to attract, the next day, the people, the opportunities, the circumstances that match the new frequency. And this bridge of incidents builds itself day after day, night after night, until the desire manifests in the physical world. But beware, here is the error that 80% of people commit and that nullifies everything. This is the error I told you about at the beginning. The error is inconsistency. You do the technique one night, with faith, with feeling, with conviction. You wake up the next day still with the residue of the new state. But then comes the bill you forgot, comes the argument with your child, comes the stressed boss, and you, without realizing it, return to the old state. You go back to feeling bankrupt. You go back to feeling lonely. You go back to feeling sick. And in this return, all the work of the previous night is erased. Persistence. This is the word. Persistence is the only true bridge between prayer and manifestation. Not persistence in asking, persistence in being, persistence in feeling, persistence in maintaining the state of consciousness even when the external world screams the opposite. The external world is always the reflection of the previous state. When you change the state, it takes time until the external world reorganizes itself to reflect this new state. And in this interval between internal assumption and external manifestation, the test is not to go back. When the bill arrives, and it will arrive, you will look at it and say within yourself, "This is the reflection of an old state. It is no longer who I am." When the loved one does not respond, you will say, "This is the echo of an old vibration. I am already loved." When the illness still seems present, you will say, "This symptom is the shadow of the past. I am already healthy." It is not denial of reality. It is affirmation of a higher reality. It is the assumption of the new reality, even while the old one is still agonizing in its last breaths. And it is here that the invocation of Saint Michael becomes your daily anchor. Whenever doubt strikes, whenever fear rises in your chest, whenever the old inner voice screams that nothing will change, you will stop everything. You will breathe. You will place your hand on your heart, and you will say with conviction, "Michael, cut with your sword of light every doubt, every fear, every old belief that is trying to drag me back. I already inhabit the new reality. I already am what I asked for, and nothing moves me from this state." And you will feel physically a change. You will feel your chest lighten. You will feel a silent force sustaining you. The I am. This is the final key. In all mystical tradition, from Moses hearing "I am that I am" before the burning bush, to Jesus saying, "Before Abraham was, I am," the phrase "I am" is the Creator's password. Everything you put after the "I am," you decree. Everything you affirm as "I am," you become. And that is why there must be fierce vigilance over your inner talking. How many times a day do you say, without thinking, phrases like, "I am so unlucky," "I am tired," "I am anxious," "I am poor," "I am lonely"? Each of these phrases is a decree. Each of them is an assumption, and each of them is being executed right now by the infinite intelligence that governs the universe. Starting today, you will begin a loving but firm vigilance over every "I am" that comes out of your mouth, your mind, your feeling. You will trade "I am poor" for "I am prosperous." "I am lonely" for "I am loved." "I am sick" for "I am healthy." "I am a failure" for "I am blessed." And you will not say this like a mechanical parrot. You will say it assuming the feeling that these phrases bring. You will feel the real prosperity. You will feel the real love. You will feel the real health. Because the feeling is the confirmation of the "I am" at the subconscious level. And the subconscious, upon receiving the confirmation, begins to execute. Now I am going to talk to you about something that perhaps you are feeling at this very moment while listening to me. Perhaps a tear is rolling down your face. Perhaps your chest is tightening. Perhaps you are feeling that strange mixture of hope with fear of allowing yourself to hope. I recognize this feeling. It is the moment when the soul recognizes the truth after years of silence. Do not run away from this feeling. Stay in it. Because it is exactly in this state of deep recognition that your transformation begins. Not tomorrow, now. And that is why Michael came to you today through this video. Do you think it was a coincidence that you clicked on this video precisely today? Precisely on this day, at this time, in this emotional state? It was not a coincidence. It was an answer. It was an answer to a silent prayer that you don't even remember having made. Perhaps you made it last week in the shower, crying alone. Perhaps months ago when you looked at the ceiling at 3 in the morning and asked for a sign. This video is the sign. And Michael is here now, with his sword raised, awaiting your decision. Because manifestation does not happen without decision. The law of assumption does not operate on automatic. It operates on the conscious decree. You need to decide. Decide definitively to leave the old state. Decide without turning back to occupy the new state of consciousness. Decide that from this second on, you are what you always wanted to be. You won't become. You already are. You won't conquer. You already have. You won't deserve. You already deserve. This decision is the most sacred act of power that exists, and no one can make this decision for you. Not St. Michael. Not the Almighty, not this video, only you. I'm going to ask you for an exercise now, not later, now. Place your right hand over your heart, close your eyes for a moment, breathe deep, and say, out loud or in silence, with all the conviction you can muster, I am what I always asked to be. I am blessed, I am prosperous, I am loved, I am healthy, I am free, and from this state I do not leave any more. Michael, cast out with your sword of light everything that tries to drag me back. I authorize, I accept, I am. Feel this decree vibrating in your chest. Feel its truth, not as hope, as a consummated fact. You have just done the most powerful thing that exists. You have just planted the seed of the miracle in the fourth dimension. And the universe, at this very instant, has already begun to assemble the bridge of incidents that will take you from the point where you are today to the point where your soul always knew it would arrive. It may be that the first evidence comes tomorrow. It may be that it comes in 3 weeks. The time of manifestation belongs to persistence. The more persistent your state of consciousness is, the faster the bridge rises. I know that perhaps you are thinking, but what about my financial situation that is tightening today, and my marriage that is about to end, and my mother's health that is delicate? I hear you. I understand you. And it is precisely for these concrete everyday situations that this law applies with more force, because it is not theory, it is practice. Think of a man named Robert, 53 years old, owner of a small store in Chicago. The store was about to close. He had been begging for a financial miracle for 2 years, without result. But Robert discovered the law of assumption, and he started doing it differently. Every night before sleeping, he occupied the state of the prosperous businessman. He felt the store full. He felt the smile of his proud wife. He felt the tranquility of someone who no longer has overdue bills, not as a fantasy, as a reality already materialized. Persistence every night. It was not an instant miracle. It was a sequence of small incidents. An old customer returned and placed a large order. A neighbor recommended his product to a company. A supplier offered better terms. One by one, these incidents accumulated, until 3 months later, Robert not only saved the store, but began to expand. This is the bridge of incidents in action. Think of a woman named Audrey, 39 years old, single mother, discovered that her 15-year-old son was involved with bad company. She could panic, scream, despair. And often she did that, without realizing that each explosion of fear only confirmed, in the electromagnetic field of the heart, the worst possible scenario. But she learned. She started to enter her son's room every night after he fell asleep. She sat on the edge of the bed and occupied the state of consciousness of the mother of an upright, happy son on the right path. She did not demand. She did not control. She only inhabited the state. And the transformation came in a gradual unfolding in which the son moved away from that group, approached new friends, regained interest in his studies. The bridge of incidents formed silently, leading the son to the destination that the mother assumed as already realized. This is the immense, deep beauty of the law of assumption. It does not require you to force anyone. It does not require you to manipulate anyone. It only requires that you occupy the final state, and the universe takes care of the rest. Others reorganize themselves, circumstances realign, doors open. You don't need to know the how, you only need to inhabit the what. And the what is always a higher version of yourself, a version that already is, that already has, that already lives, that already loves, that is already healed. Can you feel at this moment the magnitude of what I am giving you? This is not another motivation video. This is not a generic prayer video. This here is an instruction for using reality. The next 6 months of your life can be radically different from the last 6 years. Not because I said so, because the law is like that, and it operates always on anyone who decides to operate it with persistence. I need to remind you of one last thing before we reach the most sacred moment of this video. Persistence is not stubbornness. It is not gross effort. Persistence is kindness to yourself, repeated every day. It is returning to the state, with affection, whenever you leave it. Without judging yourself, without punishing yourself, you will leave the state several times. At the beginning, it is natural, the old program is powerful, but every time you leave, you simply breathe, place your hand on your chest and return, return, return. And this loving return repeated is what sculpts the new reality. Not perfection, loving constancy. And that is why I ask once again that you confirm your decree of acceptance here in this video now. Leave your like if you haven't yet. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. Comment below the phrase, I am. And from this state, I do not leave anymore. This comment is an anchor. You will return to it later in moments of doubt, and you will reread your own decree. And your subconscious will recognize that word as yours because you wrote it yourself, and it will respond. Until the miracle appears, obvious, inevitable, in front of your eyes. There are only 45 seconds left in this video, and they are the most important 45 seconds. I want you to stop absolutely everything now. Drop whatever is in your hand. Look at the screen. Breathe deep. Place your right hand over your heart and hear the voice of Michael through me, speaking directly to you. Michael says, I have cast out the evil from your life right now. I have cut with my sword of light every old belief of scarcity. I have cut every inner voice of fear. I have cut every program of defeat. I've cut every bridge of incidents that led you to the fall. Michael says, from this second on, your I am is purified. Your state of consciousness is renewed. Your fourth dimension is consecrated. Your persistence is strengthened. You are no longer who you were until here. You are, from now on, the blessed, prosperous, loved, healthy, and free version that always existed within you. And this moment is now, not tomorrow. Now, not next week. Now. Feel at this exact instant his hand on your head. Feel the light descend through your heart. Feel the old weight dissolving. Feel the lightness taking over. Feel the serene, deep, immovable certainty that everything, absolutely everything, is well. Everything is resolving. Everything is aligning. Your new life has already begun. The paths are already opening. The right people are already being moved toward you. You only need to remain. Remain in the state. Remain in persistence. Remain in the I am. And when you close your eyes tonight to sleep, remember, you will not sleep like someone who surrenders to fatigue. You will sleep like someone who enters the most sacred temple of the universe, your own subconscious mind, and will plant there the scene of your realized life. And you will wake up tomorrow in a world that, day after day, will reorganize itself to confirm what you assumed as truth. This is the secret that was always yours. This is the power that was always within you. And today, finally, you know how to use it. I bless you on this journey. Michael blesses you on this journey. And may every time doubt tries to return, you remember, feeling is the secret. The law of assumption is exact. The I am is the key. The fourth dimension is the workshop. The bridge of incidents is the path. Persistence is the guarantee. And clean inner talking is the loving vigilance that sustains everything. You always had everything. Now you know. And knowing changes absolutely everything. So be it. And so it already is.